the first time in decades, earning more experience may not mean earning more money, not because of a recession, not because of inflation, but because AI has fundamentally changed how companies calculate value. And most professionals right now, today, haven't noticed yet. We've entered the salary compression era. Hey, welcome back. Or if you're new here, glad you found this. What we're talking about today is something that is already happening to millions of American workers. And the frustrating part is most people don't realize it until they're years deep into a career that stopped paying them forward. I want to talk about salary compression, not the technical HR definition you might find buried in a LinkedIn article, but the real version. The version that's playing out right now, quietly, across corporate America. And I want to do it in a way that's honest, because there's a lot of fear content out there. AI is going to take your job, and I don't think that's the full story. The full story is actually more nuanced, and honestly, more alarming in a different way. So stick with me through this, because by the end, I want you to walk away with a clear picture of what's happening, why it's happening, and more importantly, what you can actually do about it. Let's get into it. So first, what is salary compression? In plain English, it's when the gap between what experienced workers make and what newer workers make shrinks, the pay scale collapses. You've got someone who's been in their field for 15 years, a senior analyst, a mid-level manager, specialist of some kind, and their salary is barely $50,000, $60,000 more than someone who joined 2 years ago. And here's what makes this era different from what we've seen before. In the past, salary compression usually happened because companies had to raise entry-level wages fast, maybe to compete for talent or meet a minimum wage increase, and senior pay didn't catch up quickly enough. That's the old version. The new version? It's not that entry-level wages are rising. It's that senior salaries are being quietly capped, frozen, or in some cases, restructured downward. And the reason is AI, not replacing workers entirely. That's not what's happening most of the time. What's happening is that companies are realizing they can replace the most expensive, most senior parts of a role. The analysis, the synthesis, the research, the first draft, writing, the data modeling with AI. Tools and the junior employee to run those tools. So instead of hiring one senior person for $140,000 a year, they hire two junior people at $65,000 each, and they get more output for roughly the same cost. The math works for them. The math does not work for you if you were planning to be that senior person. This isn't layoffs. This isn't mass unemployment. This is the ladder being quietly sawed off at the top. Let me break down the three forces that are driving this, because I think understanding the why is what changes your behavior. The first cause, AI is now doing the work that justified senior salaries. Think about what used to make a senior employee worth 2 or 3 times what a junior one was worth. Experience, pattern recognition, the ability to do in 3 hours what would take a junior employee 3 days. Speed, judgment, knowledge compression. That is exactly what AI tools are very, very good at. GitHub Copilot can write functional code in seconds. ChatGPT can draft a client-facing strategy memo. AI research tools can synthesize 50 academic papers into a coherent summary in minutes. Spreadsheet automation handles the kind of financial modeling that used to take a seasoned analyst a full week. The work hasn't disappeared, but the human premium for doing that work, the salary premium, has been challenged. When the AI can do the senior parts of the job, companies stop paying senior rates. And this isn't hypothetical. We're already seeing it in the numbers. Wage growth for college-educated, mid to senior level workers in white-collar fields, tech, finance, marketing, legal, consulting, has stalled in a way that doesn't match broader economic conditions. Unemployment is low, GDP is growing, but raises, not keeping up. That is not a coincidence. A second cause is corporate cost optimization pressure. Specifically, the pressure companies have been under since the rate hikes of 2022 and 2023 to justify every dollar of operating expense. For a decade, companies in tech and finance operated in an environment of cheap money. You could afford to build senior teams, invest in talent, pay up for experience. That era is over. Now CFOs are scrutinizing headcount. Now every hire has to justify its cost against what the same budget could buy if structured differently. And when I enters that calculation, one senior person versus a I plus two juniors, the math starts tilting against you. Companies are not villains in this story, by the way. They are doing exactly what market logic tells them to do. But the consequences for individuals, for you, potentially, are real. The third cause, and this one really matters, productivity gains are not being shared. When I makes a team more productive, where does that productivity go? In a healthy economic model, you'd see it flow partly to workers as wages. That's how it worked during the Industrial Revolution, eventually. That's how it worked during the IT boom of the 90s and early 2000s. But right now, the productivity gains from AI are going almost entirely to shareholders, to earnings per share, to operating margin. Major companies are reporting that their teams are producing more output with the same or fewer people. But you're not seeing that reflected in salary increases for those teams. The value created by AI-augmented work is being captured at the top. And the workers who are learning the tools, who are adapting, who are putting in the effort, are not seeing rewards proportional to the output they're generating. Three forces. AI, replacing the economic justification for senior pay. Corporate cost pressure reshaping how headcount is structured. And productivity gains not flowing to workers. This is why salary compression isn't a blip. It's structural. Now, here's where I want to slow down because this is the part people miss. Salary compression doesn't just hurt your paycheck directly. It has a cascade of hidden effects that most professionals don't see coming until they're already inside them. The first hidden effect, the promotion ladder is shrinking. When companies flatten their salary bands, they tend to flatten their organizational structures at the same time. Middle management layers disappear. Senior individual contributor roles get restructured. The career path that used to go junior to mid-level to senior to principal or director, that ladder is losing rungs. Companies are going from 5 levels to 3. From 3 levels to 2. This means the jobs you were planning to grow into may not exist by the time you re-ready for them. Let me say that again because it's important. The jobs you were planning to grow into may not exist by the time you re-ready for them. The second hidden effect, the experience premium is declining. In traditional labor economics, your salary goes up as a function of your experience and your demonstrated output. More years, more money, that relationship is breaking down. Right now in the US job market, we're seeing something economists are calling experience devaluation in certain sectors. The wage gap between someone with 3 years of experience and someone with 12 years of experience in the same field is shrinking. Not because the 12-year person is performing worse, but because the baseline of what's expected from a 3-year employee using AI tools is rising fast. The floor is rising, but the ceiling isn't rising with it. The third hidden effect, pay bands are being compressed. Companies are restructuring their internal pay bands to reduce the range between minimum and maximum pay for a given role. Where a senior engineer role might have previously had a range from $90,000 to $140,000. Now that same band might be $90,000 to $115,000. Smaller range, less upside, less ability to reward tenure and performance. And the employees in those roles often don't know this. Happened until they re-maxed out of the band and their manager tells them there is no more room for merit increases. That's a real conversation happening in offices and on Zoom calls across America right now. The fourth hidden effect, hiring budgets are being quietly restructured. A lot of companies are not laying people off. They are letting natural attrition do the work. Someone leaves voluntarily. And instead of backfilling with an equivalent senior hire, they restructure the role downward, hire a junior person, and point them at an AI tool. This means the hiring market is getting strange. There are jobs, but they're lower level. The senior jobs that pay well are drying up. Not all at once, not in a way that shows up as a crisis. Just slowly, consistently, structurally. This is why some of you are noticing that job searches are taking longer than they used to. Not because you're less qualified, Because the job you're re-looking for is being replaced by a different job, one that pays less and requires less seniority. This is the invisible pressure. And it's going to intensify over the next 3 years as AI capabilities continue to expand. So let me tell you what I think happens over the next 3 years based on the trends we're seeing right now. And I want to be clear, I'm not predicting doom. I'm predicting change. There's a difference. Change is something you can prepare for. We're going to see a clear divide between two types of workers. The first group, high I leverage professionals. These are people who have figured out how to use AI as a force multiplier for uniquely human skills. Strategic thinking, relationship management, ethical judgment, creative direction, cross-functional leadership. These people will see salary growth, not because they know more code or have more credentials, but because they're harder to replace. They're doing things the AI can't do, and they're using the AI to do the things it can. The second group, everyone else. People who are using AI as a basic productivity tool but haven't repositioned what makes them uniquely valuable. These workers will face the compression we've been talking about. The question isn't whether you're smart, it's whether your skills map onto the things that AI amplifies or the things AI replaces. We're also going to see salary growth concentrate at the extremes. High salaries at the very top for people who can direct, strategize, and make decisions that carry real consequences. And acceptable but flat wages for the majority, the low growth salary majority. The traditional career ladder's sweet spot is getting squeezed out. The question is no longer whether AI will replace you. The question is whether your salary can keep rising in a system that no longer needs the hierarchy you were climbing. That's the real question you need to be asking yourself. Okay, now let's talk about what you can actually do. Because that's why you're here. And I want to give you real, actionable advice. Not the generic learn to code or stay curious. Advice that sounds good, but doesn't actually change your trajectory. Step 1, audit what parts of your job I can now do. Sit down and honestly map out your workday. What are the tasks you spend most of your time on? Then ask yourself, could an AI tool combined with a less experienced person produce a similar output? This is not a comfortable exercise, but it's the most important one you can do right now. Because if the answer is yes for a large percentage of your time, you have a problem. And the earlier you see it, the more time you have to fix it. Step 2, reposition yourself around judgment, not just knowledge. The highest value thing a human brings to work right now is not knowledge. AI has more knowledge than any person. The highest value thing you bring is judgment, context, relationships, stakes. The ability to be accountable for a decision in a way that an AI cannot. So ask yourself, are you operating at the judgment layer of your work? Or are you still doing the knowledge retrieval and output production work? If it's the latter, you need to start moving up. Volunteer for the strategic work. Get in the room where decisions are made. Build a track record for the things AI cannot replace. Step 3, learn to use AI offensively, not defensively. There is a difference between someone who uses AI to protect their current job and someone who uses AI to do things they couldn't do before. The defensive player thinks, if I use AI, I can finish my current tasks faster. The offensive player thinks, if I use AI, I can take on capabilities that used to require an entire team, and I can deliver value at a completely different scale. That second person gets paid more. That second person becomes harder to replace. That second person is the high I leverage professional. Stop using AI to just do your current job faster. Start using it to do jobs you couldn't previously qualify for. Step 4, build optionality outside your main job. One of the most powerful things you can do in the compression environment is to reduce your income dependence on a single employer. And that doesn't mean quit your job tomorrow. It means using your expanding AI leverage capacity to build something on the side, a consulting relationship, a content channel, a productized service, something that earns you income based on value delivered, not hours logged. When your salary stops growing, having a second stream of income isn't a luxury, it's a hedge. Step 5, negotiate now, not later. If you're currently undercompensated, this is the most important time in your career to have that conversation with your employer. Not because it'll be easier later. It won't. As compression deepens, the window for negotiation shrinks. You need to make the case for your value in terms of what you deliver that I cannot, the relationships, the judgment, the institutional knowledge, and you need to quantify it. Vague arguments don't win salary reviews. Numbers do. Be ready to have that conversation and be ready to walk if the answer isn't acceptable. Here's what I want you to take away from this video. The salary compression era is not coming. It is already here. It is already affecting the career trajectories of millions of American professionals, and most of them don't know it yet. That's actually good news for you. Because now you know that the old formula, work hard, accumulate experience, wait for the raise, isn't guaranteed anymore. Not in the same way it was for your parents' generation. But you also know that there is a path forward. It just looks different. It looks like building skills around judgment and strategy. It looks like becoming someone who uses AI offensively. It looks like creating economic optionality instead of depending on a single employer's compensation decisions. It looks like making moves before you're forced to, not after. The professionals who will thrive in this era are not necessarily the smartest or the most credentialed. They're the ones who woke up to what's happening early and adjusted. That can be you. If this video made you think, if it shifted how you see your situation even slightly, share it. A lot of people you know are in this same position and don't realize it yet. And if you wanted to go deeper on how to position yourself in an AI-driven job market, I've got more content coming on exactly that. Subscribe if you haven't, and I'll see you in the next one.